Thank you very much, Owen. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to take you through the online meeting etiquette. My name is Odiline, and I am a brand strategist, challenged to inspire the world, and you can simply call me Vakoma. Oh. And why online meeting? Why did ICAS decide to have this special session? We have seen a lot of that in the wake of the coronavirus. People are forced to work virtually from home, from their offices, from wherever they will be. If you also look at my picture there, my background, you see my picture, you can hardly see me because I'm lacking that virtual presence and the etiquette and the know-how on how I should be presenting myself when I'm online. And you can see some eyebrows dancing on me because sometimes you click on things and you don't know what they make you when you are then online. And that's why now ICAS decided to have this session. Please allow me to be off video because if you keep on seeing my picture like this, it might disturb you. And also Vakoma and ICAS would like to make you masters of the virtual domain, which, sorry, my things are not moving. Yeah, masters of the virtual domain. And when we speak of the preparation for the meeting, that's where the etiquette starts, where we're saying you need to send a friendly reminder a day prior to the meeting. That is, if it's a meeting, the agenda, but please don't flood people's emails, don't flood people's WhatsApp platforms. Just know what time you are sending those and how many times. A day before, in the morning before the session will be good enough. Prepare the agenda and review prior to the meeting because as you go, the agenda changes with people giving in their apologies. You need to prepare it and review and share with the people. And you need to schedule a quiet office for the presentation. If you are working from home, if you know your network from home is not stable, please make sure you have to drive to the office and find a quiet office for the presentation. If you're at home, find that place where your children, your wife, or your helpers will not disturb you. You need to test your virtual presentation tools prior to the meeting because sometimes you struggle to have these things running. No matter how many times you have used them, no matter how many times you have tested them, you need to keep testing them for every event you'll be doing. Before the event, as you log in, you can test them as you are logged in behind other people because there is a function which allows you to do that. And you need to prepare and prepare and prepare so that you are on point when making the presentation. Sometimes you find out that you prepare to say you're going to have this meeting, but then towards the meeting day, you find there are people who are canceling, who are not able to attend the meeting. And these people are meant to be important for that meeting. If you see that the people that need to attend the meeting will not be there, there's need for you to cancel that meeting. And when you are canceling, please cancel in good time so that the other people who are attending can find other things to do on their schedule. And on the day do's, please be on time. We say at least get logged on 10 to 15 minutes before the start of time, especially if you are the host. Even if you are not the host, if you are the presenter, make sure you are also there 10 to 15 minutes before the start. If you are just a guest who is there, please make sure 5 minutes before the meeting is proper etiquette, because remember, someone will allow you to get into the meeting. If you then come when the meeting has started, it means you are disturbing the host, who is then supposed to allow you into the meeting. Check your mic, your speakers and webcam to see whether they are functioning, to avoid people asking you to say, we are not hearing you, we cannot see you. And also close all windows and apps that might disturb you, and leave only the document or the folder you will be using. And make sure you put a do not disturb sign on your door if you are at the office. If you are at home, tell your people, tell your community at the home that please do not disturb me because I'm going into an important meeting. And make sure you put your phones on silent. Even if you are in the office, the phones, your landline, please make sure it's off hook. You might have told your PA or your colleagues that you are going to a meeting, but someone might forget and then try to phone you. That ringing of the phone, if you are presenting, disturbs the flow of your presentation. And at the start of the meeting, follow any specialized instructions that come from the organizers, that or the chairperson or the host. This could be, they will ask you to mute yourselves and be off your video. They have reasons for that when they do. But I've seen in some instances, people, when they are told to mute themselves, they find themselves on. Why? Because they like the etiquette of the online presence. Sometimes people, they are told not to disturb the flow of the presentation. You will ask questions at the end of the presentation or after the facilitator has asked you to. Sometimes people are asked to type their questions and their issues in the chat box, but people prefer to then put a hand up and then disturbing the flow of the meeting. The meeting time, focus on the meeting and eliminate distractions. Sometimes you will have, especially if you are the host, then you say we are starting at 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, you only have 2 people in the meeting. Others are still to join you. If the meeting is starting at 10 o'clock, let's start at 10 o'clock. Those who are late will find us doing our presentations and going on. And if you see there are people who want to distract, make sure that your settings enable you to mute those people, because there are some people who just come into the meeting to disturb the flow of the meeting for the reasons known to them. Mute your microphone when you are not speaking. It's only proper etiquette, because why should it be on? Remember, anything can happen while you are speaking. And also make sure your mouse indicator is away from your mute buttons, because before you know it, it will have muted you, unmuted you, and everyone can hear what you are saying. Speak when you want to convey something necessary or necessary information. Don't just speak just because people, they should know that I'm in this platform and your contribution is not making sense or is not adding value to what is being discussed. Do not speak when you want to show interest and engagement. They are and oh, and I see. As much as they are good when it's a physical meeting, when it's online, it's considered rude. And let us use the chat box for questions and comments so that we do not disturb the person making the presentation or the facilitator. And before we speak, can we make sure we introduce ourselves so that people know who is speaking for reference purposes? And please don't get off topic. Sometimes when you try to give an example, you then run away from what is being discussed and you go and concentrate on that topic, and before you know it, you are off topic. Try, whenever you make an example, whenever you give a scenario, make sure you get back to the topic where you are. When you speak, you'll be listening to yourself. Listen and try to understand, are you within the topic? And when speaking, because some people use headphones when they are home, please do not shout in the microphone. people can hear you as long as your settings are in proper setting. Don't be unprepared to what is going on. When we started, the first presenter, unfortunately, had network challenges and was booted out. The next presenter, imagine if he had just was not part of the conversation and he had just logged on and gone somewhere. Then he's called in before his time. It will be embarrassing for that person to be called over and over again, because you will have shown the people that you have just logged in, but you were not part of the proceedings. And don't be unprepared to operate virtual meeting tools. I've attended a conference where there were professors, doctors, and engineers, and it was so embarrassing when someone was asked to then put up the presentation, and they could not put the presentation on slideshow. So we need to be prepared for these virtual meeting tools. And when we speak of online etiquette, we speak of how we then dress, and then how do we start a presentation, and how is our background when we are doing. And there are some things that happen as we make the presentations that can guide us whether we're in the right direction. And people typing or taking notes using their keyboard, and muting our mics, which I've spoken about, and jazzing up, which is about our presentation slides. When we speak of dress code for the online presentation, we say dress how you want to be addressed and dress for the occasion. The moment you are told that it's a meeting, you are being told that it is a formal thing. The word meeting itself tells you how to dress. I've seen people, they are in their pajamas. Sometimes people are in bed and they even give an excuse that, I'm sorry, I'm still in bed. That's not proper etiquette. You need to dress how you want to be addressed, and you dress for the occasion. For your internal meetings, if you are working from home, a t-shirt, a hoodie is considered proper for an online if it's an internal meeting. But as long as there are people from external included in your meeting, you are supposed to dress formally. And warming up, I'm not saying you need to exercise. I'm saying before you start your presentation, before you start your meeting, you need to say something, talk about anything. Because, you know, believe me or not, we are all humans and need a bit of small talk every time before we start. Because if you go straight in the point to your presentation or to the meeting without a little talk, you then appear very transactional, that you just want this conference to go on and I'm done. And watch your back. I'm happy ICAS gave us the background to use, because sometimes we see unprepared beds, we see boxes of pizzas lying all over. Turn your webcam before the meeting as a way of checking how your background is. And read for cues when you are presenting. It needs some time to practice to get these things, but the more you participate in presentations, the more you get to learn of these things. A breath inward, it's communicating to you that someone wants to speak, but maybe you're not seeing their hand up, or you have not seen their messages. So in a way, they just have this breath inward. They are trying to communicate to you. So listen to those things. Then as said, they are saying they didn't agree with what you were saying in a way. So if you then get to read these cues, you tend then to address these issues as you go. And total silence, like what is happening now, usually means no engagement. So when you are making presentations, especially if they are long, make sure you engage your people to find out whether they are still with you. And sounds of typing, it means your delegates are multitasking as they are attending your event, and leaving the keyboard alone. Please, even if you are taking notes during the meeting, make sure you are muted or don't use your keyboard. Don't type information besides you not focusing on what is happening, you are also disturbing the other people who are attending the meeting. Muting your mic, I think I have spoken about this, the frustrating noise that comes with it, and it also prevents any unwanted audio from entering your mic. When we speak of jazzing up, we are saying, can you then prepare, because people, the audience will not get the benefit of your charming physical presence. So what will charm them is your slides of the presentation. Make sure that they are good enough to attract the attention of your audience. And do not eat during the meeting. If you cannot take food to a physical meeting, why should you take food to a virtual meeting? Sometimes people will say, but I will be off video, but anything can happen, then you are on video. Maybe you are not muted and people can hear you chewing. That is very bad behavior and not good etiquette. Sticking to the time frames, it shows professionalism when we do that. It also makes others be on time. If you, as the facilitator, as the host, or as the presenter, is on time. Minding our body language, the way we sit. Some people look like they are children watching a cartoon where their faces are so close to the screen, you wonder. Some sit relaxed like they are sitting at a beach, and you are communicating to the people who are looking at you that yes, you are listening, you are part of this session, but you are not interested in what is being said. Facial expressions, especially when our videos are on, even if a presenter makes a mistake or says a point which you do not agree, your facial expression will disturb the flow of that presenter because they will have seen your facial expression. And protect sensitive information. I've seen a lot of people when they want then to share their screens, their presentations, they open and their desktop is full. Sometimes you click on some payroll and everyone gets to see salaries of people. Can we then close all unnecessary tabs from browser? And finally, don't exit from meeting without excusing yourself. There are people who are rude, who just leave the meeting. You type in the chat box that, please excuse me, I have another meeting starting in 10 minutes. Excuse me, I have an emergency. And then you leave the meeting. And don't leave the meeting before your guests. For example, ICAS, the presenters, before they leave the meeting, you cannot leave. If you have a chairman in the meeting where you are attending, your chairman has to leave before you. And that's proper etiquette. And etiquette means behaving yourself a little better than is absolutely essential. You need to gear up and invest in good equipment like Jabra Speak 510 double-sided business handset. Please note, Makoma is not getting any commission to advertising this. I just want you to have good things. And when you invest in good equipment, you avoid, can you hear me now moments, and you also avoid apologizing from the call dropping. And remember, the internet makes every online action memorable. Practice proper etiquette for good memories. As you continue to connect with Makoma, thank you.
Wow, you know, there's actually a comment from our CEO to say you should have had this presentation last year. But Lynn, can I ask you to turn on your camera once again so that people can really see what you look like in terms of the eyebrows and things like that? There, I think I have put myself beside you so that people can contrast. See, so those eyebrows are very distracting. But yeah, thank you for the practical demonstration of what not to do. And thank you for that presentation. I think the comment from the CEO that I was talking about says, you know, I think we should have done this last year, but I guess it's never too late. So we do have two quick questions to say, you spoke about not eating during meetings. So, but can one add a coffee though? And secondly, is it best etiquette to put on your video, or it's a personal choice?
On eating, yes, you can have your tea, you can have your coffee, it's allowed, even your water. But when you're having your water, you cannot have it in the bottle. You have to put it in a glass or somewhere, a container to drink. You can't drink from the bottle. Even your tea, make sure you have it in a proper tea cup or even in your thermo in case it spills. But remember, liquids can spill and spoil your yes, like what Gloria is holding. It's proper to have that one because it helps in spilling of the tea on your thing. And your second question on video, it depends. If the facilitator, the host asks you to have the video on, you need to have it on. But if there are no instructions, if you feel you don't want your video on, then don't have it on. But remember, these platforms, that's when people get to know you. They can read your name, it's Odiline Kava, but your video is not there. Then how do they associate the Odiline Kava with the face and get to know you more about you? So it can be a personal choice, but remember, you are here to sell your brand when you have these meetings. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Odiline. I certainly have benefited. I think I picked 2 or 3 things that I certainly need to improve, and I will be doing that. I hope everyone has actually picked up 1 or 2 areas that they need to improve on as well. So thank you so much, Odiline. Thank you once again to Mr. Mkarati. Thank you once again to Mr. Bukampindi, and thank you, Odiline Kava, for those presentations. It's been a very insightful morning. We've learned a lot.